Hopefully everybody has watched the first video where Cisco explains what Cisco Spark is and how to get started with Cisco Spark. In this training video, we're going to go over Spark at Hilton and how to be productive with it, and also how Spark is made up of spaces and teams. So email overload is a very real problem at an organization-wide level. Spark folds together all the functionality of email, messaging, file sharing, face-to-face meetings, and calling into one platform. Spark can be used for internal communications or also for external communication if a third party has their own Spark account. Spark is free for anyone to sign up, so tell every vendor to go to the URL we have here and they can create their Spark account with their own work email address, and that way everyone can communicate back and forth if you need to. With Spark, you can stay connected from any device anywhere. Install on your PC, Mac, iPhone, iPad, or Android device. We basically enable you to message, meet, call from anywhere at any time. So we'll start off with Spark Spaces. Spark consists of spaces. They can be a one-on-one space with another person, or it can be a space with a group of people for a specific subject. Within a space, you can send messages, make calls, have video meetings, share files, and whiteboard. Spaces work well for random interaction, but when it comes to major projects, you want to make sure and utilize the Teams feature so you can organize your spaces based on people you normally work with on multiple tasks or projects. Cisco Spark Teams come in many flavors, but to give you some context, here are a couple of types of real life teams that are a great fit. So you can have organizational or functional teams based on their fit within a company, such as a marketing team. Everyone in a marketing team can be put into a team space, or an engineering team or human resources team. That way, everyone is already in one space, and if you all interact with each other, let's say on new projects or something very specific to your team, anybody can see those new spaces as they are created, and they can also join and leave those spaces. Another way to create teams is if you base it off of project teams. It's based around a specific project, often spanning multiple functions, such as a new product development. In this case, you might have people from engineering, design, marketing, and quality assurance. So the first example is something very organizational and defined. If you're on the digital team at Hilton, you can create your own team, and everyone on that team is in that space. Whereas if you're kind of on the IT side of things, we interact with a lot of different teams. So we might have multiple teams for our organizational structure. Like as an example, my team, which is wireless and telecom, I have everyone in a team. Or I can also be a part of other teams, and it's more project team based, where if we're working on new projects around new office openings, or we're deploying wireless to, let's say, hotels or another corporate office, we create teams that encompass multiple different departments. So when it comes to Spark teams, every team is equipped with a general space that automatically includes all team members. In addition to a general space, here are a few examples of what teams can create from our example. So the first thing we have is the marketing team spaces. So on the right side, the picture, you'll kind of notice these little rectangle blocks. One says analytics, marketing, customer experience, social promotion, and website. These are actual teams. So someone created a team called analytics, someone created a team called marketing, et cetera, et cetera. Within those teams are different spaces. So as an example, let's marketing team spaces. Within that team, you could have project spaces such as new website space and a conferencing planning space. You could have sub-team spaces such as iOS development and build pipeline. Or you could have topic-based spaces, such as football fans and great reads. So within that purple marketing team to the right, there could be many different spaces, like I just mentioned. You could have football fans space so that, it's not necessarily business related, but if everyone wants to get in there and kind of socialize and do, better team building and, talk about football stuff, they can. Or if they like to read a lot of books and they want to share it with everybody, you could have great reads. So there's really no limit to what you could create from a space standpoint. Another example would be engineering team spaces. So within an engineering team, just trying to think off of the top of our head of what there might be, you could have ask spaces such as ask the VP or ask the help desk. So if your VP or the help desk, they want to create spaces where people can come and ask them questions. If they're open for that, you can potentially have a space for that. There could be a new space per project, like declare email rollout. I'm sure a lot of people saw the declare project and got a lot of emails. So if there's a huge project around declare, a space can be created for that, and you add in everybody, every department that's going to be involved in that project. So everybody is in the know, they're aware, they're up to date, and they can see all the files that have been shared for that project. The last example is you could have update rooms, such as weekly updates and interesting blog posts. So if your boss is interested, let me go back. If your boss is interested, then maybe they want to set up a weekly updates space so that instead of coming to someone or coming to their team members at the end of the week, they set up a space and they tell everyone, okay, at the end of the week, please go into this space and provide me weekly updates on whatever projects you might have. That way, they're not getting tons of emails from different people. It's all in one space, and all of the other members of that space or that team can see everyone else's updates. That way, everyone's in the know and they're totally up to date on what's going on with their whole team. Obviously, interesting blog posts. It depends on your department or your area whether this would be relevant or not. That way, you're sharing maybe information around new technology that's for your area. Or if you're HR, new blog posts around HR and some of the innovative stuff other corporations are doing out there. So here we're providing the layout for Spark. In future videos, we're going to kind of go through some demos and show you how to use everything. But for now, we've kind of got this picture. So the first set is Spark settings. Within Windows, you'll want to click your profile picture and then select settings. If you're on a Mac, you're going to go in the Apple menu bar and select Cisco Spark and then preferences. With that area, you can select different things like you can create or you can add your avatar picture. And if it's a profile picture of yourself, you can do it, or if it's something appropriate, you can add that picture. You can also go and edit your audio and video settings. So if you're going to have audio calls or video calls with other team members, then you'll probably want to go and make sure that the correct camera is set. So if you've got a laptop, you'll want to make sure the front camera is set. If you're using a Surface Pro, you've got two cameras on the Surface Pro. You've got the front camera and the back camera. You'll want to make sure the back camera is not set. Otherwise, people are going to see, the back of your desk or your wall in your office. You also want to make sure you've selected the correct audio settings. So if you've got your laptop microphone, you'll select that. Or if you've got something external like a Bluetooth headset that is going to provide you better audio quality, you'll want to make sure that you select that for your audio. So right here, there is a little plus sign where you can create a new space or a one-on-one chat. When it comes time to have a one-on-one discussions with people, you'll click that and you'll either type in the person's name or their email address. And the same goes if you're creating a new space. You'll type in the person's name or email address and also the name of the space. And we'll show that in demos. And also that was kind of shown in the first video that Cisco showed you where, how to get started with Spark. Here you have a little lowercase I with a circle around it, and that's where you can edit space settings. So if you wanted to change the name of a space, you can lock a space. There's multiple things you can do here. That's how you would kind of control the space. This depends on whether you are the owner of a space or the moderator of a space, on what kind of permissions you have and what you can and cannot change. The big window here is the conversation window. This is where all the persistent conversations are going to happen. Team chats, file sharing, and meetings are going to show up. Once again, messages are persistent, so you can always scroll back and review and catch up on what you've missed. If you are in a call, if you've joined a call and you're sharing video or you're doing audio, then you will be able to click on this kind of this double rectangle button to share screen or present content. That way, kind of like WebEx, if you want to share your screen and share a Word file, a PowerPoint presentation, a spreadsheet, whatever it is, you can click that button once you're in a call with somebody. You also have this little magnifying glass where you can search for people or content. There's multiple ways to search in a space name or search for a person. You can search based off of 3 or 4 letters that might be in a word, and it's going to pull everything that has 3 or 4 letters in it. And hopefully you can find what you're looking for. A big thing everyone is going to be using is this little activity button. When you click this, it brings up the activity menu, which is this right here. So this allows you to send somebody a message, or if you're in a one-on-one space, you can call them directly, or if you're in a meeting space or a space that was created with multiple people, this will start a meeting within that space. And if other people are free or available and they see that you've started a call, they can also press this button and join you in that call, and then you can all start collaborating together. Uh, if depending on the space, you should be able to create a meeting with this button. And we'll go into more detail about meetings in future videos, and same thing goes for calling. If you want to look for all the files that have been attached in a space, then you would click this button for files, and you're going to get a list of every file that somebody has posted and attached in this space. If you want to see who is in this space, you would click the people button, and it's going to list everyone in that space. And then finally, you have the whiteboard icon within the activity button. Everybody can whiteboard within a space. You have to be in a call with each other. And if somebody is in one of the new video rooms that we're going to be deploying this year, 2017, if they're in a room with a Spark board, they will be able to join a meeting by clicking the call button and whiteboarding in that room on the 55-inch or the 70-inch Spark board. And then anyone who is remote on the Spark app or on an iPhone or Android device can also whiteboard in parallel. And everybody can collaborate and erase stuff, draw extra stuff. And it's almost like you're all in the same room together with a whiteboard. So right here, we have this little M icon, and you probably can't see it that well in this picture, but if you go to your Spark app, you'll be able to see it. This icon here is the markup and formatting. So everyone can type a message and paste it or post it into this space, and it's just a regular unformatted message. If you want to get a little specific, you can start to do markup and formatting. So you probably won't be able to see it here, but right here, if I wanted to make a letter, a word, a letter, or a sentence bold, I would start out by typing asterisk asterisk, and let's say the word like amazing. I would type asterisk asterisk, type in amazing, and then end it with asterisk asterisk. When I hit enter and paste that into the conversation window, that word or anything in between the asterisk asterisk is going to be bold. The same thing goes for italic. There's an underscore and then whatever the word you want in an underscore. And there's many other options here. You can do bullet points, you can do headings. Uh, Definitely check it out. One thing I will say is today the markup icon is no longer on the right side. As Cisco Spark evolves and gets better and better, especially with the user interface, there will be changes to this. So today it's moved over here. I believe you'll see a couple of icons today, like the plus sign. You'll see the markup. There's a new emoji icon if you're on a Mac, or if you're on a Windows 10 device, you'll see an emojis icon. And there's one more thing I can't remember right now. But so it'll be evolving as it goes. And if you don't see the emoji icon, it's probably because you're not on a Windows 10 device. So right here you have the compose box. Obviously this is where you type anything in, and then once you hit enter, it goes into the conversation window. You will have the plus button, and what this plus button does is either it allows you to add an attachment. So if you hit that plus button and then click the attachment, you'll be able to browse to a folder and pick the file that you want to share and then add it into the conversation window. Or what this is right here, and you definitely cannot read this, is a snippet option. So if you have a web browser open and you just want to do a screen capture of that web browser, or a screen capture of an email or something that someone sent you, you can click that, and then it's going to allow you to do a little screen capture, and then you can paste it into Spark. Right here you have your recent spaces, and this could be separated into either one-on-one chats or with actual spaces with multiple people. It goes from the top down, so the most recent will always be at the top, and then the ones you haven't been active in will eventually get pushed down to the very bottom. Uh, it's hard to keep up with space sprawl, so we recommend heavily using teams and kind of thinking about how you're going to create spaces. If it's going to be specific, if it's going to be a specific space for an organizational unit or for a project, you want to build a team around it. That way you can easily find the spaces that you create. Otherwise, if it's a space where you just want to quickly message two people on your team or one person and just kind of give them an update, with a space, you can create a name for the space real quick, say blah, 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 or XYZ, and then add the two people that you want to contact and then chat with them real quick. And eventually that space is just going to get pushed to the very bottom and you'll never use it again, maybe. So don't worry about, trying to keep up with every space you create. Spaces can be made and just forgotten about. It's not a big deal. So here you have what we call your filters. You can, obviously the default is all spaces. You'll probably want to see all spaces most of the time, or you can filter by unread messages. These little red icons that pop up, kind of show you how many unread messages you have. The same goes here. You got this little red icon popping up here, or right here under the team space. So you'll also have, you can search by one-on-one chats with people or favorites. So if you're not using Teams and you're only going to have a couple spaces, you're not going to have a ton of spaces, but you want to be able to find stuff and keep it from having space sprawl, then I recommend creating favorites. So if you have one person that you always talk to, you can add them as a favorite. And to do that, you would go over here under the space settings and collect or add it as a favorite. The other thing is, it could be one-on-ones or it could be a space with multiple people. Just add it as a favorite and then you'll always know where to find it. If somebody mentions you in a space, if they directly mention your name, then you're going to have @mentions right here. And we'll go into @mentions later on in other videos. The last thing is flags. If somebody is posting in a conversation window and you want to go back to it, let's say they're asking you to do something or they provided a link to a URL or some kind of information that you found really interesting and you want to make sure you can go back to it and find it, then you can flag that message and find it again. So that's what your flags would be. Here you have your little navigation menu. So this is your messaging menu. So you can click on this and you'll see your one-on-ones and your team or your spaces. If you want to get to your teams, you would click this little icon that looks like, three little silhouettes of three different people. So that gets you to your team menu. And the last one is calls. So Spark has the ability to call people within our organization. You can also call other people outside of our organization. We'll get into more details on that in another video. The last thing here is presence. So up here, people are going to show up, or you'll actually show up as being active. If you've actually gotten into Spark and you've typed messages or you've looked at other people's messages, it'll show you as active now, and other people will see you as active now, and you'll have a green halo over your avatar. Or it'll show you as inactive, and it'll show you maybe active 20 minutes ago, and it doesn't gray out your picture, but it starts to make your picture fade out. And then if you're 8 hours, it kind of totally grays out your picture, showing, okay, you just have not been active in a long time. The other thing you can do is do not disturb from a drop-down menu. I've actually got do not disturb right now on my Spark application. And let me see if I can drag it over real quick so you can see it. So right there, it just shows up as, okay, do not disturb. So the last thing is you could have out of office. So if you are a licensed user at Hilton and we have you integrated with Outlook and Exchange, if you set your out of office message within Outlook, it will show up within Spark, and it'll kind of have a little silhouette of an airplane over your avatar showing that you're out of office. Okay, so that is the Spark layout. In the next video, we will be showing you how to work with Spark messaging. So please be sure to look at that video. Thank you.